Okay, good morning everyone. Welcome back to this session of English. Whether it's soft skills or English grammar, doesn't matter. You're here, that's what matters. And I'm K. Shailaja Rao, soft skill trainer at Aditya Global Business School, Surampalam. So for all those of you who have started today, always in my class, I'm sure you do for other classes also, have a book and a pen handy. Because as you all know, nothing is complete until you test yourself, right? After you learn driving, you have a driving test, right? And the RTO or the road transport officer doesn't give you a license until they test you. So a test is mandatory, and test also helps you know where you stand. So we will be having tests on all the topics that we are having. So it's always good for you to have a notebook and pen handy. Write down the points that you think you might not remember, even if you think you remember, because when you're fresh, your mind is fresh, you think you'll remember everything. But 1 week down the line, 10 days down the line, we'll forget everything. So because that's the way our mind is processed, it throws out all the whatever it thinks is unnecessary, it throws it out and gets fresh, keeps on getting fresh data. So fresh information is coming in, the old information goes out. So that old information should be in your notebooks so that you can revise and keep it fresh all the time. So with that, let's go back to what we are going to do today is adverbs. As you all know, we started this in the previous class, and we also learnt what adverbs are. Adverbs are words that modify, what is a word? Modify verbs. He ran, ran is a verb, right? But by adding quickly, he ran quickly, we are actually telling somebody how he ran. So he ran quickly is an adverb, which is telling us, modifying the verb ran. Similarly, adverbs also modify adjectives. Like he is, okay, he studies well. So well is an adverb which has been, he is good in studies. He is good in studies, right? So what is good is talking about that person, it's an adjective. So, but here we are going to modify it into an adverb by saying he studies well. What does he do? He studies how? Well. So, and adverbs also modify adverbs. Let's take the first example. He ran quickly. Actually, quickly is an adverb, right? It's modifying the verb ran. But by adding very, he ran very quickly. We are giving more information about how quickly he ran. So very is an adverb which is modifying another adverb. So very is an adverb, quickly is also an adverb. So adverbs modify verbs, modify adjectives, and modify adverbs. So we will see how they can be distinguished as different kinds of adverbs. So adverbs of place. I'm sure all of you understand this. So let's look at what are adverbs of place. We have adverbs of place, we have adverbs of frequency or time, and we have adverbs of manner. So let's see what these adverbs are. Why do we distinguish between them, and how do we use them when in our sentences when we want to change or add more information to the verb. So adverbs of place are out. Please go out. So you're telling him to go where? Out. Or when you say come in, come inside. It's an adverb. My keys are there. And please come here. So how do we distinguish between there and here? There is far away from the speaker. Whoever is speaking, when something is far away, please sit there, means a little farther away from me. Please sit here close to me or near me. So my keys, my pen is here. My keys are there, far, a little further away from me. Okay? Far. Don't go far. Go far. Near. Okay? My dog always walks near me. Or my friend sits near me. Near. He tells, near is a word which is telling you where your friend sits near me. Okay? So it's adding more context or more information or more meaning to the word sits, right? So these are all adverbs of place. Upstairs, downstairs. Where are you going? I'm going upstairs. Come downstairs. So these are all adverbs of place. So it actually tells us, adverbs of place tells us where something happens. Okay, they are usually placed after the main verb. Sit here, come here, going upstairs. Did you notice a pattern here? That after adverbs of place are always or after the main verb. Okay, come in, sit out, wait outside. So whenever you're talking about adverbs of place, they generally follow the main verb. So let's look at some examples. I think they've changed places here. I thought I corrected them. John looked around, but he couldn't see the monkey. Around is also an adverb of place because he's looking at the whole scene. I searched everywhere I could think of. Everywhere is also an adverb of place. Here, everywhere, outside, away, around, all these are adverbs of place. I'm going back to school. Come in. They built a house nearby. Nearby is also, I said near, nearby are also adverbs of place. And she took the child outside. There's some mismatch here. Don't worry, I'm telling you the correct ones. These are adverbs of place. Then, let's see how here and there are used. Here and there are used very simply, like I told you. Come here means, what do here and there mean? Come here means come towards me, come closer to me. The table is in here. It means that the table is where I am standing. The table is in here, right where next to me. So that is, the table is in here means it's close to me. If I say the table is in here, it's there. Yeah, here, there's a spelling mistake here. If I say the table is in there, what I mean is the table is a little further away from me, probably in the next room or somewhere I can see it, but far away from me. Okay? Put it there means put it, when I say put it there, I mean something a little further away from me. So that is how you distinguish between here and there. So here and there are combined with prepositions to make many common adverbial phrases. So you can combine here and there with prepositions to make adverbial phrases. We will see what phrases are. Phrases are something which have a different meaning altogether than the actual words they mean. Okay? What are you doing up there? Up there could mean that what are you doing outside. It need not mean just upstairs or up. So up there could mean what are you doing outside also. So up, when you add up to there, it means what are you doing wherever you are. Come over here and look at what I found. Come over here. Over here means come here. Okay? The babe means somebody is far away. Come over here means you're asking them to come closer to you. The baby is hiding down there under the table. Down there. Okay, when you add down, it tells you where exactly the baby is. I wonder how many driver's license got stuck under here. Probably in the car, they got stuck under something. So I wonder how many driver's license got stuck under here. So That's how by adding under or down, over, up, you're actually giving more specificity, or you're being more specific in saying where that is. When you say down here, something underneath, up there, somewhere else. So sometimes when we say here and there, we use it to give stress or to make an exclamation. Oh, here comes Praveen, the first ranker, right? So what are we adding here to actually to emphasize that Praveen is coming? Here comes Praveen, the first ranker, and you would put an exclamation mark. Or you could say, here comes the bus, if you've been waiting for long and then the bus really arrives, you say, here comes the bus, and you're excited about it, exclamation mark. There goes the bell. Oh, come on, there goes the bell. We have to get into our classes, exclamation. There it is. I've been searching for my keys all over. There it is. I can find them there. Or there they are. If it's keys, it's there they are. Here they are. Okay, I've been looking for my friends. Oh, finally, here they are. So whenever you want to stress on something, and you can put the here and there at the beginning of a sentence and then end it with an exclamation mark. How do you say it while speaking? It gives more stress on the word here and there. Here comes the bus. There are my friends. So when you say here and there in the beginning of a sentence, it's to emphasize something. Okay, followed by verb, it is beginning it in exclamation or when emphasis is needed. So these words are used in the beginning of a sentence, here and there, when emphasis is needed. Okay, adverbs of place that also prepositions. Just look at some adverbs. We call them, we were saying they are adverbs, around, in, on, down, behind, but they are also prepositions, right? When you learn prepositions, you already know prepositions. So prepositions are connecting words, and then these connecting words are also around, to, in, out, up, down. These are also called prepositions. So what is the difference? How can you tell the difference? Let's look at some sentences to understand that difference. Okay, so the marble rolled around in my hand. Okay, it's used as an adverb of place. Used as a preposition is I'm wearing a necklace around my neck. Generally, if in an adverb the marble rolled around, you can remove the in my hand also. You can say the marble rolled around in my hand. Okay, so that's an adverb of place. And round, I'm wearing a necklace. Who's wearing a necklace? Here the sentence is I am wearing a necklace. So that's why you can say it around my neck. Hurry, you're getting behind. Let's hide behind. Here the meaning of the word behind is actually following the verb getting. Here around is following the verb rolled. Did you notice how an adverb follows the verb here? Rolled around, getting behind. Here it is, let's hide behind the shed. Okay, Mary fell down and John made his way carefully down the cliff. So that there it is used as a preposition. Some more examples of places, adverbs of place used as can be used as prepositions: in, off, on, over. Prepositions of place ending in where. So somewhere, anywhere, nowhere, everywhere are also adverbs or adverbs of place. So they are not prepositions of place, I am sorry, they are adverbs of place. Somewhere, nowhere, even that is a place, right? I left my keys somewhere, that's a place. I don't remember where, but that's a place. I have nowhere to go, again a place. And I have is there anywhere I can find a perfect place for coffee? Or I keep running into Sally everywhere. I see dust everywhere. So where am I saying it? Everywhere. So everywhere, nowhere, anywhere, all these are adverbs of place. So remember. And then another adverb of place is wards, backwards. Okay, it's words. Like, you know, not just words, but when you say backwards, inwards, outwards, westward, eastward. If you go eastward, you will find the temple. And that means when you go towards the east. Instead of saying towards the east, you can call it eastwards. Okay. So these, when you add words to a word, it becomes an adverb of place. Just like cats don't usually walk backwards. Walk is the verb, backwards is the adverb. So look at some sentences here. The balloon drifted upwards. We will keep walking homewards. Okay. The coin went downwards or rolled downwards. The car went rolling downwards from the hill. Or so, but then towards is a preposition. Towards, you cannot call it a adverb. Because you generally go towards an object. Okay. He walked towards the car. He ran towards me. So it is a pronoun. It is a preposition, not an adverb. So towards, remember, exception is towards. So towards is a preposition, not an adverb. All the other words like backwards, westward, upwards, homeward, all these are prepositions. Emphasis is when you stress on that word. You want to emphasize. Whenever you say welcome home, right? What are you doing? You are actually stressing on the word or putting more pressure on that word welcome when you want to make somebody feel welcome, right? Happy birthday! Exclamation. So wish you a happy birthday. What do? You put emphasis on the word happy and birthday, right? Or the wish. Wish you a happy birthday. So that is emphasis. So whenever you want to emphasize something, you say it a little more loudly. So then we have adverbs not only showing us the place, but also showing us some movement and the place. Like when we say he went abroad, we are talking about going somewhere, and then we are talking about where, right? We are talking about the movement. He moved from here. He went where? Abroad. Abroad means he's moved from here and settled some foreign country other than his own country. So he went abroad. Or you could say water flows downhill, or the wind pushed us sideways. So these words, not only the child went indoors, they are playing outdoors. So it is not only telling us what was the movement, it also telling us which way it was. So with some adverbs not only tell you about the movement, they tell us also the place where it is happening. He went abroad. The wind pushed us. How? Sideways. Okay. Tell us when. Before we see this, let's look at a small video clip and you will surely understand it better. And there's one more thing. I think she asked you to repeat after her. It would be great fun if you could repeat those sentences after her. You not only improve your adverb and grammar skills, but you also improve your pronunciation, because we do want to sound like a perfect English speaker, don't we? So what better way to learn from someone who is a native English speaker? So try to repeat the words after her. Not that you will get it in one go, but at least your mouth will get used to pronouncing the words the way they are supposed to be pronounced. Because you know, just hearing won't help. Always listening and repeating those words again and again in that way will help your pronunciation. You'll get better at it. So let's watch this video for a short while.
Everyone, welcome to this English course on adverbs. In this video, we're going to talk about adverbs of place. Adverbs of place tell us where an action happens. They could also give us information on direction or movement. Let's take a look at a quick example. Let's go and play outdoors. Now, in this sentence, the adverb of place is outdoors. It answers the question, where? Where? Outdoors. Okay? Now, let's learn a bit more about adverbs of place together. Let's get started. First, let's talk a bit about here and there. Here and there are two adverbs of place that relate specifically to the speaker. Here meaning close to the speaker, close to me. There meaning farther away. Okay, let's take a look at a few examples. I put my keys there. So the adverb there indicating the location of the keys, and they're a bit farther away from me. Okay? Second example, please come here. Here being the adverb, meaning to me. So these adverbs are placed at the end of the sentence, but you can also put them at the beginning if you want to emphasize the location. For example, here are your keys. Here, close to me. There is your umbrella. Over there, farther away. So in these two cases, I want to emphasize the location, so I place the adverb at the beginning of the sentence. Okay, guys? Let's now practice pronunciation. Please repeat after me. I put my keys there. Please come here. Here are your keys. There is your umbrella. Good job, guys. Let's move on. Let's now take a look at adverbs of movement and directions. Some adverbs end in W-A-R-D or W-A-R-D-S, it's the same thing, and they express movement in a particular direction. For example, homeward or homewards, backward or backwards, forward or forwards, onward or onwards. So they express a movement and they specify a particular direction. Let's take a look at a few example sentences. We drove eastwards or eastward. It would be the exact same thing. The children looked upwards at the stars. You need to move forward one step. So each time you have a movement, specify the direction of this movement. Okay? Good. Let's practice pronunciation now. Repeat after me, please. We drove eastwards. The children looked upwards at the stars. You need to move forward one step. Good, guys. Let's move on. Some adverbs express both movement and location at the same time. For example, when I say the child went indoors, there's a movement. The child goes into the house. But it's also a location. He's inside, indoors. Another example would be, he's going abroad. It's a movement, but it's also a location, abroad, in another country. Finally, I could say, the rock rolled downhill. Everywhere, somewhere, anywhere, or nowhere are adverbs of place as well. But they are special because they describe a location or direction that is indefinite or unspecific. For example, I looked everywhere for my car keys. I'd like to go somewhere for my vacation. We're going nowhere. Is there anywhere to get a coffee? Let's practice pronunciation together. Repeat after me. I looked everywhere for my car keys. I'd like to go somewhere for my vacation. We're going nowhere. Is there anywhere to get a coffee? Great, guys. Let's move on. Just so you know, some adverbs can also be prepositions. Now, the difference is that an adverb stands alone. A preposition is always followed by a noun. So, for example, outside. Outside can be an adverb. For example, we were waiting outside. It's an adverb, it stands alone. But it can also be a preposition. For example, we were waiting outside his office. Goes with a noun. Another example, I kicked the ball around. Around is an adverb, in this case it stands alone. But it can also be a preposition. I kicked the ball around the field. It goes with a noun. Okay? So an adverb stands alone. A preposition is followed by a noun. Now let's practice pronunciation. Please repeat after me. We were waiting outside. We were waiting outside his office. I kicked the ball around. I kicked the ball around the field. Very good, guys. Let's now move on to practice, shall we? Okay, guys, let's do a bit of extra practice. I have a few example sentences for you to spot adverbs of place. First example, John looked around, but he couldn't find his wife. Now remember, adverbs of place answer the question, where? Can you spot the adverb here? Of course, it's the word around. Where did John look? He looked around. Second example, I searched everywhere I could think of. Now, where did I search? Everywhere. Everywhere is the adverb. Let's go back. And what's the adverb in this sentence? It's back. Of course. Where? Back. Next example, come in. Where? In. Okay, the adverb is in. Okay, so adverbs of place answer the question, where? Okay, let's practice pronunciation. Please repeat the sentences after me. John looked around, but he couldn't find his wife. I searched everywhere I could think of. Let's go back. Come in. Good job, guys.
Good job, guys. I hope you all repeated after her and got your pronunciation right, because listening only does so much. You have to practice and repeat after them, or repeat after when you read something, or even when you're reading. If you actually want to practice speaking, you can read it aloud and see if your pronunciation is the same as that of a good speaker, a native speaker, or a speaker who is not a native but has got good pronunciation. Okay, you look at our TV news anchors, they have very good pronunciation. So you must observe the way they pronounce those words and try to pronounce them correctly. So some more adverbs of place tell us, adverbs of not place. These are adverbs of time. Tell us when. Yesterday, tomorrow, later, now, last year. All these adverbs are adverbs of time. They tell us when something happened. So now let's look at adverbs of frequency and time. So there's adverbs or words which tell us when something happened. Earlier, the adverbs of place tells us where something happened. The adverbs of time or frequency tells us when something happened, or how often or how frequently it happens. Often is also an adverb, so I should not use it. How frequently it happens. Frequently also is an adverb. The frequency and time when something happens is what adverbs of frequency do. So yesterday, often, usually, always, a year, sometimes, today, tomorrow, the day after, daily, a week, never. Never is also an adverb. Remember, something just never happens. Never is also an adverb. Ages ago, I met him ages ago. So ages, a year ago. So a year. All these are adverbs of time and frequency. So let's look at how adverbs of frequency are used in sentences. So adverbs of frequency or time tell us when something happens. So and also they tell us for how long it happened and how often it happens. When we say I often go to the temple. Okay, I often go to the temple. That means, do you go every day, or do you go sometimes? So the word often actually suggests how frequently I go to the temple. Often generally means maybe about 60 to 50% of the time I go to the temple, other times I don't. So adverbs of time have standard positions in a sentence depending on the time they are telling us. We'll understand this better with an example or with more examples. Okay, actually I have had this slide, but then before this I want to go here. So we here looking at later, how later could be used as an adverb of frequency. Later Goldilocks ate some porridge. Here, how the use of these adverbs of frequency emphasize the way they are placed in a sentence mean different things. Later can be placed in 3 positions in a sentence in this example, and the way it is positioned tells us what is more important in the sentence. Okay? Later Goldilocks ate some porridge. Here the time is important. Later I'll come to your office. That means here, when will I come to your office? Later. So here the time, I'm stressing on what time I'll come to his office. Later. So later Goldilocks ate the porridge. Here the stress is on telling us the time. The importance is about the time. When did she eat it? Later. Okay? Goldilocks later ate some porridge. This is more like a common usage where the stress is not on the time. The man later went home. Generally, that's how when you're writing something formally in a formal report, that's how you write. The man later went home, or policeman's report here it says. But generally in writing we use the word later in the middle. So where the stress is not exactly on the time, we just want to give information that something happened afterwards or later. Okay. Goldilocks ate some porridge later. This is neutral. There is no emphasis on anything. So, Goldilocks ate some porridge. When? Later. So, here the stress is not on the time. Just to inform you that Goldilocks ate some porridge later. The stress is not on time. So, whenever the words always or later or these adverbs of frequency are placed in the beginning of a sentence, always do your homework first. So, what is important here? When I say always do your homework first, I am placing the stress on the word always. That means all the time. The stress is on doing your homework all the time. Okay? Always. So, if I say do your homework first always, means there I am saying doing your homework is important always. So, the stress is not on the time there. So, that is how placing an adverb in the beginning of a sentence, end of a sentence or middle of a sentence places more stress. You can tell what the emphasis is on. So, some more adverbs of frequency that tell you for how long. Okay, how long? She stayed in the bear's house all day. We are talking about Goldilocks here again. She stayed in the bear's house all day. Okay, she was in the office all day. He was watching movies all day. That they're not only telling you when, but they're telling you a time frame all day from the morning probably to the night. So, my mother lived in France for a year. So, here again they are giving a specific period, time period for a year. I have been going to school since 1996, and then there is no, you see it says since, does not say till when. So, since is a continuous thing. When you say since, that means you are still going to school. I have been going to this school since 1996 and I am still going to that school. That is why I say since and do not yeah, we have a small video break. I don't know for some reason, but don't worry, we will be getting it back. Yes. So, these verbs, adverbs, actually all day, for a year, since are all adverbs of time or frequency. Actually, they are adverbs of time. Some of them, since, for is used when there is a duration. I have been working here for 2 years. That means I've been working here for 2 years. Or it says is almost followed by an expression of duration, for and then 3 years. Even since is always followed by an expression of time. I have been working here since 1996, since Tuesday, since a month. So, I have to give some point of time. Okay, I have been working here since January. So, there you have to specify since when. For is a period of time. Let us look at these examples. I stayed in Switzerland for 3 days. I am going on vacation for a week. I have been riding horses for several years. There is no specific time, for several years. It could be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, several years. I have not seen you since Monday. So, Monday means the day. For the past 4 days I have not seen you. Jim has been working here since 97 and there has not been an exciting discovery since the last century. So, since 100 years there has not been an exciting discovery. So, since means some point of time till now. Often, never, always, seldom, rarely. These also actually are used quite often in sentences. There I use the word often. So, often in sentences, I'll actually before this I'll actually give you a trick on how to use these words, how to know which word, which adverb of frequency to use when you're speaking, and let's look at how these are used. I often eat vegetables, I eat vegetarian food. Okay, I never, or he never drinks milk. You must always fasten your seat belt, always. And I'm seldom late, very rarely. Or he rarely lies, very, very less. But how do we know to what degree? There's a difference between seldom and rarely. But what degree is there a difference? I'll show you in a table so you understand which is more less and which is more frequent. Seldom is a little more frequent than rarely. When you say rarely, it's, you know, you say once in a blue moon. Rarely I go there, once in a blue moon maybe. So what you actually mean is very, very less frequent. Seldom is a little higher there, but not as often as you would like. I seldom go to visit my grandparents. I wish I could go more. But seldom means very less. Not rarely. Rarely is, you know, very, very few times. Seldom is a little more than that. I'll give you that table in a minute. That's actually a tip I'm going to give you, a technique on how to use these adverbs of frequency. So I think I'll use that last slide, which was a blank. Yes, I'll use this slide and tell you how to use these adverbs of frequency. Let's draw first, let me draw a pyramid. I hope this will do. Okay. So the first one that we always, when we say always, is when you do something, always, let me write it properly, when you do something 100%, I'm always early to school. So it tells you you're 100% of the time early to school. Next one is, you could also say I'm usually busy. You cannot, that means you're usually busy, generally, or not always, but usually you keep yourself busy. So 90% of the time. And then, which is followed by generally or normally. Normally I go by a car. Okay, or normally I go by bus. I go to college by bus. Normally is about 80% of the time. Or generally I go by car. Okay, generally I travel by train. That means 80% of the time you travel by train, but sometimes you could travel by maybe a flight or something. That's what generally or normally. When you say generally or normally, just think, this is just a sort of a technique for you to remember which adverb of frequency to use when you're speaking. And when somebody says generally, you should have an idea of what they mean. So that's why I'm giving you this. Then you always do often and frequently. These are adverbs of, when you say I often visit the temple, you're saying is about 70% of the time you do something. I often dress in bright colors. That means 70% of the time. Or I frequently visit the temple. Often, frequently can be interchangeably used. They are about 70% of the time. And then which is followed by sometimes. When I say sometimes, I mean, 50% of the time. When I say sometimes, I sometimes miss my bus, or not sometimes. I rarely miss my bus, but I sometimes go to visit my friends. That means 50% of the time. And then you could say occasionally. When you say occasionally, I occasionally go to weddings, or occasionally I go to parties. So that means 30% of the invitations you get, you go to parties. And then you could write, I have to make it smaller, thinner, because seldom, when you say seldom, you mean only 10%. I seldom visit the library. I seldom read books. That means very less, 10%. Followed by rarely. Rarely is when you do something only 5% of it. I rarely drink coffee. Okay, I rarely miss the bus. So when you say that, you mean only you do it about 5%. And finally, you would come to never. 0%. I never miss going to school. I am never late. That is 0%. Okay? He never tells lies. So, never. So, this table or this pyramid will actually help you to understand what the other person means when they say often or sometimes or occasionally, seldom, rarely, never. So, these words are used very often when people speak, and when they say I seldom, what does seldom mean? Does it mean rarely or more often or what? So, here you understand that rarely or seldom comes just a step above rarely, and sometimes comes a step below often and frequently. Okay? I sometimes go to the temple, or I sometimes go shopping. So, occasionally means it is even less than sometimes. I occasionally dress up or go to weddings. So, these I hope this helps you, this sort of a pyramid helps you in understanding these adverbs of frequency. For years means I have not met somebody. For years means it does not mean just 1 or 2, it could be in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. I have not met somebody, there hasn't been an excavation of this type, or for years means it could be any length of time, more than a year, 2, 3, 4, 10, 100 years. Okay? So, I hope you have noted these points. Some people are asking for notes, but I would suggest that you note down everything that is going on in this class. That is good notes for you, and try to write down the points, because the moment I say I will send you notes, you will stop writing, and that is not a good thing. So, and all this is available on the net. You do not have to search very far. You Google something today, you have the Google for everything. So, it is all available on the net, but always write down your notes. You should know what you are looking for, right? So, if you have this, if you say adverbs of place, you will easily get about 100 examples or 1,000 examples. So, now you understand when we say often, never, always, seldom, rarely, right? So, frequently, I visit, whenever you put these adverbs of time before a sentence or at the end of a sentence, it actually stresses on the word. So, it gives more strength to the time. I visit France frequently. Frequently here gives more strength. That means I go there very often about. And I frequently visit France. It has got, if you put it in the beginning, it has got less. Okay? So, generally I do not like spicy foods. You started with the word generally. So, generally also means 50% of the time or 70% of the time I do not like spicy foods. I generally do not like spicy foods or food. Foods is wrong there. So, similarly I have got some examples here where I come to this museum regularly. So, sometimes, often, occasionally, normally. So, I normally listen to classical music. Whenever you start or end with the adverbs of frequency, you are placing stress on that. When it's in the middle of a sentence, I regularly, I often, you start with I, the stress is not on the adverb but on you. I do this. But here, often I jog in the morning. So, often the stress is on the adverb of frequency, how regularly you do it. So, sometimes there are some adverbs which tell you how frequently something happens, like monthly, once a week, 5 days a week, 7 days a week. Okay, I saw the movie 7 times. I work 5 days a week. I saw this movie thrice. So, these are all adverbs of time. Yet. So, there are more adverbs of time. I think we are running out of time. So, we will continue with another session on adverbs in the next class. So, till then, keep practicing, keep repeating when you hear something good. Try to improve your pronunciation, look and try to do some exercises on adverbs of place and frequency. Okay then, bye. See you all in the next class.